welcome to another episode. My name is Dean Vasic and follow me on X at #Kangas, Instagram #Kangaroos Podcast. Tonight, I welcome back North Melbourne legend and a man I haven't had on for a while in Troy Makepeace. Makey, welcome back. My DMs have been going nuts over the last few months, asking where you have been. How is everything, mate? Your fans want to know.
All three of them? No, I've
There's a lot
been.
more than that, trust me.
No, I'm humbled, mate. Thank you. Been really well. Been busy with work and spending time with the family and that sort of thing. So yeah, just enjoying a bit of a break, and now we're back into the footy season again. So yeah, looking forward to having a chat with you tonight, and hopefully give some insight again and see how we go leading into this week's game.
Definitely. You've had a bit of a setback in the family. Did you want to disclose that, or you want to keep that a little bit private?
No, I'm happy to disclose it. I'm not sure what interest there is out there. Unfortunately, yeah, my son Jai's ruptured his ACL again. Might have spoken about that a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just first practice match of the season. Unfortunately, he's done the same knee, so he's going to go through the process again. Surgery in a couple of weeks' time, and we'll see how we go after that. Yeah, hopefully keep his spirits up and about and get him ready for season 2026.
Now, yeah, I mean, we spoke a little bit off air about that, and you're sort of trying to keep both your spirits high because it does affect the parents just as much as it affects the individual as well. So you've obviously tried to turn negative into positive. He's asked you, to keep on track and trying to lose a few more kilos to try and get fit while you continue to work with him on his rehab. Is that the deal?
Yeah, it is a deal I made with him just to keep each other honest and bit of motivation for him. Obviously, it's a big setback for him, and he's a bit flat after initially it happened. And so I thought as a bit of a motivation for both of us, I guess. Yeah, he's going to keep me honest with my want to get fit and lose a few kilos, and I'm going to keep him honest and keep him on track with his rehab, and hopefully get him in a good headspace to be able to tackle footy next season.
That's all you can do at the end of the day because, it can be a very long 12 months. And the second ACL, at only 21 years old, it's definitely going to challenge him mentally. But at the end of the day, it generally can make people a lot stronger and a lot more resilient as well, Troy. Life is tough and you're going to get challenges. Unfortunately, it's a tough challenge, but I'm sure with the right support around him, he'll definitely get through it. And my thoughts are with him as well, Troy.
I appreciate that very much.
And I'm sure a lot of our listeners as well. Thoughts are with him as well.
Thank you.
Anyways, we'll have to move forward, Troy. Let's go back now. There's been a fair bit of news over the last couple of weeks. I guess the big news out of the club, outside of the football field, is the LDU signing of 7 years for around $1.3 million a year. Are you been happy with that?
Yeah, absolutely. We all sort of, I guess, knew that was a roundabout sort of figure that would need to be put on the table to keep him. We all know his value, and obviously other clubs do as well. I'm stoked that he's staying with the club for a long period of time. And then the footy club posted something the other day on their socials. 8 or 9 core players that have signed for a bulk period of time, which I think really shows where those players think we're at, and that they're in for the long haul as well. So hopefully that's a sign of good things to come. And locking away LDU really consolidates a big chunk of our playing group, and I'm sure we're going to go through it over the next 20 minutes or so. But we want to see those sort of results now on the field and build that consolidation from an on-field perspective, and hopefully not having that hanging over our heads now gives us the ability to look forward and focus on some positive things.
Definitely. I mean, those players that they talked about, Simpkin, Larkin, Sherry, Bahar, Sheasel, now LDU locked in 2029 onwards. You're happy to build around that core? That's not a bad core to build around, is it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a very good core. And I think it speaks volumes to those players to stick with the club through what's been an extremely tough period, to now consolidate their contracts, and it just shows that the guys that are on the periphery, I guess, these guys are in it for the long haul, done the hard yards, and they want to start to see some fruit for their labour. They've got no doubt that we're on the right track, and we'll hopefully see that over the next year or so.
No, well, we'll certainly hope so. Can you understand the logic?
Yes, mate.
Well, might have lost you. Oh, don't go for
You're
it.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
It's a sign for those guys that you're trying to attract as well. That we're off the field, we're looking stable, and we feel that off the field things are heading the right direction. And I think for a player that's potentially looking at changing clubs, having that stability makes us look a little bit more attractive than what we have in the past. So obviously the frustration is there in terms of results and things like that, and I certainly understand. Where people are coming like that with that. But yeah, I don't agree to let him walk. He's one player that if we let him walk, we're going a lot more than 10 steps backwards. Yeah, I think so. I think it's, I guess, a little bit typifies what's been happening from a team point of view as well. Is that when he's sort of been down for 5 or 10 minutes, that is when the team's down as well. I'm not saying he's the wholly and solely the barometer of how we go, but it's just sort of where we've been at as a team. We've seen some really good things, from a team point of view, and 100% we've seen some not so good things as well. But building that consistency with himself, I think is there's far more good than not so good. Yeah, I think we start to build more consistency through games as a whole team. I think his consistency naturally comes with that as well. But I think he's been playing at a high level. The great players aren't going to be 100% on 100% of the time. So it's when his game's not going the way he wants, is if he can be on that downslope as minimal time as possible, and his bad games or bad periods aren't super bad, then I think he's going to be in a good place.
Harry Sheezel's 50th game. Now, not many players can say they've had a bigger impact than this guy over their first 50 games in their career, besides maybe Wayne Carey.
Yeah, it's been a phenomenal start to his career. You hear every now and then, players go through the second year blues, and he certainly hasn't experienced that by the looks of it. In fact, I think he's gone almost to another level. So it has come down pretty quick, hasn't it? So 50 games already. It's a really good sign. Again, we talk about players that we like to build a club around.
It definitely has been. There's been plenty of highlights, obviously, over that time. Where do you think his best position is right now? There's a lot of talk that, midfield. There's been spells of playing half back this year when we've struggled as well, and little spells half forward. Where do you see his projected best position long term?
It's got to be midfield. He's certainly looked, like a real driver for us through the middle of the ground. So, I mean, you want two or three of him, don't you? Because you can see his value across half back, and you can see his value in the forward line as well. So, I definitely see him as one of those go-to midfielders that can really be damaging. Forward of the ball as well, that can kick goals and as well as be a good clearance player for us as well.
I mean, he's definitely got added value in every position he plays. But do you see him like predominantly as a midfielder that can go forward, like a 70-30, or maybe a 50-50 between I don't know, midfield and half forward or forward pocket?
Probably 70-30 I would sort of lean towards. I think his value of being able to hit targets inside 50 is right up there, but he can be that damaging midfielder that can kick goals as well. So there's definitely value for him moving forward. But yeah, I think I'd like to see him, majority midfield. But yeah, as a goal-kicking midfielder.
Yeah, that'll be good. Obviously, hopefully we can get that luxury where we don't have to play predominantly midfield or push him to half back because we still want him forward of the ball. That's where he plays junior football and played his best football when he was playing in your junior teams. And we've seen the quality he does have inside that forward 50s. Very similar to Toby Green. Yeah, we'll definitely have to wait and see. But at the moment, I'd probably have to agree with you that, at the moment, 70-30 split is the right way to go. All right, last couple of weeks have been a bit tricky, Troy, but we'll go more towards last week. Did were you sort of a bit half glass full, half glass empty? Because we were quite competitive for 2.5 quarters. I think we were a goal up with 6 or 7 minutes to go in the third quarter, but we fell away badly, and maybe the heat had a fair bit of um, yeah, a fair bit to do with it. Were you a bit on the fence with this one? Because Gold Coast Suns look like they're ready to really pounce and go for a top four spot this year.
Yeah, they're certainly in some form. So we knew, well, I had a very good feeling it's going to be a real good challenge for us, considering the disappointment of the Sydney game. So to bounce back, like I said, for two and 2 3/4 quarters, we were very, very good against a really good team. I guess the frustration, I guess, for viewers and members is, the capitulation in the last quarter. As you said, we're 8 points up with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, end up losing by 50 plus. So that's obviously really disappointing and something that would need to be addressed. But I sort of look back, 12 months ago, similar sort of situation in terms of where we're at, in terms of the season, 5, 6 rounds into the season, and we weren't even looking at being in games, and so I certainly get people's frustrations, and I get frustrated myself. The Sydney game was extremely disappointing, but you look at the other games, the Bulldogs game, I think it was the first quarter where we had. Sort of some good passages of play in the first quarter. We didn't make them pay, and then we got burnt the other end, and we're down by 4 or 5 goals at quarter time, and then we're playing catch up, and we're right in that game right to the end as well. Obviously, the Melbourne game was extremely good. Adelaide, again, we're up against another quality team at the home venue, and that was another game we could have got blown out of the water as well. The Sydney game was disappointing. I thought, majority of the game we were right in it against Gold Coast on the weekend. So I think a sign of where we're at will be how we bounce back and how we go against Carlton on the big stage tomorrow afternoon.
That's exactly right. So what's been the biggest concern for you probably last 2 weeks? Is it I'll talk about the defense soon, but we still are conceding a lot of big scores, and we have been ever since Clarko has come into the club. That's probably the biggest concern for me, but have you got other concerns for yourself?
I think our defense is a concern. Our inability to stop opposition teams getting a run on. Pretty obvious. I got the opportunity to go to the Bulldogs game, and when you're sitting up in the stands, you get a really good view of the whole field, and just the ability for the Bulldogs to find space, or our inability to be able to close it down and stop those fast breaks was pretty obvious, pretty worrying, I guess. And I think that's what's been happening is that we do a lot of work to get the ball back from oppositions, and then we do a lot of work to get the ball inside 50s. But then as soon as we turn the ball over, we just don't have an ability to be able to defend players, or I don't know what it is, but we just, for opposition teams, just to continually find spare players and just pick their way down through our defences. I don't know whether that's a lack of understanding or a lack of training for that sort of scenario, or we don't have the cattle. I don't know. It's really disappointing how and you'd see people continually write, when we're under the pump we just continually go down the line and that sort of thing. And when we play our best footy is when we're able to pick teams apart. But the opposition seem to do that quite well against us week in, week out, and that's probably one thing that needs to be addressed. I think we're getting better in a lot of other areas, but that's one that's the idea of the game is to kick more goals than more score than the opposition. If you're allowing your opposition to score 120, 130 plus every week, it's going to be very hard to win games.
I mean, I guess there was a little bit of a contrast. Like the Swans game was really poor as far as turnovers go. Like I think our ball movement was pretty ordinary that game, and when we did turn it over, it was generally in our back 70, and it's very hard to defend a turnover when you do that. And but we learned some lessons against Gold Coast the next week, and we're able to rectify that for a period of time. Obviously, last quarter I think it was a bit of the heat. Then what were improvements? I guess that it's good to have you on, Troy, because you were a defender and a small defender. I look at some of the easy goals, especially from stoppages inside our defensive 50. And I'm glad to have an ex-player like you on. But we are conceding, from just easy stoppages like in our defensive 50. Now, when you were a defender, even when I played defence, 20 or 30 years ago, it's a long time ago, I always got told to stay goal side of your player because generally you want them running away from goal, your opponent. And it just feels like teams are just running into an open space and running into an open goal far too easily. Have you noticed that a little bit?
Yeah. Naturally, I sort of look towards the small defenders or how we do defend. I like to feel like I've got a good understanding of how to sort of dissect the game a little bit and analyze the game. And I always continually look at when opposition teams score the goals. And I know it's hard because you only get the replays of what you see on the TV, but I always go back if they go back far enough, you try and see what initially broke down at the start and how it all sort of transpires, and particularly the small forwards when they get their goals. I have a look at them. Okay, where was our player positioned? Was he arm across and little things like that? And look, I certainly have seen over the last couple of weeks, defensive stoppages. We're just not doing enough in terms of putting time into our opponent. You're not going to beat them every single time, but if you can just push them off their line a little bit and just get their timing out of whack, and it just might be the difference between them getting a clean hand on it or fumbling, or you being able to get your hand on it yourself. So I would like to see us be more aggressive in terms of putting time into our opponents. It's very hard when you come up against opposition players, obviously plan for that sort of thing, but that's your job ultimately, is to stop the opposition getting those run-ons. So putting time into opponent is a big thing, and not just relying on team around you to help you all the time. Obviously, you talk about team defense, but you still got to do the job
exactly.
yourself. Well, 100%, mate. It is extremely frustrating, and it sort of opens my eyes up a little bit. When I was playing it, and I made some pretty crazy mistakes in my time as well. So I can only imagine what supporters were saying back then as well, and because I'm sort of saying similar things myself now when I'm watching it, and it's sort of like, okay, like you said, they're doing the time. You'd like to think they're doing the time, off the field, the reviews of the game and structure setups, and you'd like to think they're doing all those sort of things, but it's frustrating. I think a big frustration for me is I feel like we're getting control of the ball on quite a few occasions. I feel like we're controlling the ball a lot more than what we were last year, but just our ability just to butcher it, like turn the ball, basic fundamental turnovers, that's a big killer for us, because we get ourselves in a position where we can be really attacking and start to move the ball forward, and we start getting momentum, and then a basic turnover or an easy drop mark, and I think that's because we're out of position
It's hard to
defensively when
defend.
we've got the ball. It's extremely hard, and that's a big frustration. And I see that those comments a lot, and probably write those comments myself. So yeah, keeping control of the footy when you've got it, especially when you work so hard to get it, and then putting scoreboard pressure on it. And it sounds bloody simple, but that can make a big difference in how you defend as well. Is if you control the ball for longer periods and get scoreboard pressure. Because what was it? Was it against the Adelaide or against Gold Coast where we had more scoring shots for majority of the game, and you kick more goals instead of points, and the game looks completely different. And Gold Coast are playing a lot different, and we structure up differently because we're in a different position. So scoreboard pressure is key. I'm a big one on defensive pressure. Any team can make another, like the best team, look silly just by putting 100% pressure on them, and tackling, chasing, and cause turnovers to even the best team. So I mean that's
I think our
always been my
pressure rating
philosophy.
in a
Though.
second.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% right. We've been slow starters, and that puts us on the back foot straight away. I think if we do rectify that, if we can get that tomorrow afternoon, get ourselves off to a good start, and just let Carlton know that we're going to be there and going to have that pressure on right from the start, I think that can really set the tone for the night, and makes a big difference when you're not playing catch-up footy. You look at the Melbourne game, and be in a position we were in the last quarter. We played freely, we played exciting football, and we just looked completely different. Instead of trying to bust our ass to get back into the game, and like we did against the Gold Coast, like you said, with 5 goals down, and I was watching through that period and thought it's not looking real good. But you see the way we just sort of chipped away at it, fought ourselves back, and we looked a completely different side. Going into that third quarter and get ourselves in front. It's like, no, this is going pretty well, and then our usual injury. Sort of red time goals that we seem to concede quite easily.
Yeah.
And end of that third quarter there, we go from 8 points up to 3 goals down, and that's it. We're chasing tail again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sitting right next to my mate.
Oh, okay.
No, you're breaking up.
Oh, no.
Sorry, mate, I'm not catching. I just catch. Oh, I can hear sometimes. Yeah, you
Yeah, I
can.
can.
No.
All right.
Yeah. I'm literally sitting right next to my.
Can you all right?
Percentage you see on the screen, is that connectivity?
Troy? Oh, anything, Troy? I can hear you. I can hear you saying something. Can you hear me, Troy? Yeah. I can hear you. I can hear your background. Can you hear me, Troy? Oh, yeah. Back on YouTube. I don't think I've got Troy at the moment. I've been trying. Troy, you there? I can hear something. Troy, you there? I'll go through anyway, ladies and gentlemen. If Troy can hear me, just let me know. I can hear. Is that you, Troy? Making some sort of weird noises there. I'm not too sure if he's gone outside into his car, maybe. I can hear noises there, but I'm not too sure. You there, Troy? Anyways, I'll go through some team changes. So, obviously, Riley Hardiman has come out of the team. George Wardlaw, we welcome back. If you can hear me, Troy, just let me know. Just come in, because I am hearing noises there, but no one's talking. So, but that's all right. Yeah, so George Wardlaw comes into the team. Sorry about the disaster of a podcast we have tonight, ladies and gentlemen. There'll be plenty of editing. He's opened a door. I can hear something. You there, Troy? I'm not too sure what's going on there, but if you can hear me, Troy, just let me know. George Wardlaw comes in for, who was it? Riley Hardiman. A lot of controversy there. A lot of people not happy with that team change. But, look, obviously, I think Troy might have left, actually. So, unfortunately, we couldn't get much of Troy Makepeace. There will be a lot of editing to get this podcast out. But it's just unfortunate that, we couldn't get him going. So, but we did get a fair bit of Troy Makepeace. He might log back on later, but it might have been an internet issue with me as well. So, I'm not too sure. So a lot of controversy about the decision to axe Riley Hardiman. I guess at the end of the day, if he's not going to get a full game this week, then he has to find some match fitness in somewhere else. So we have to make that change. Either putting him into the starting 22 or put him out of the team. And unfortunately, the club have gone out of the team. So looking at the team, that's another midfielder that comes in for a halfback flanker. No Will Phillips this week again. I don't even think he was emergency, was he? So I did see Brent Teakle was named as emergency, along with Robert Hansen and it was Riley Hardiman. That was the other emergency. No signs of Will Phillips, which is a little bit surprising, but you can't pick too many midfielders at the end of the day. So, look, I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty bullish going into this game. No Harry Mackay, no Brody Kemp as well. So they've brought in Lewis Young, who's going to probably play the second forward. No Mark Pitney. So that's a pretty interesting call, to say the least. I think Troy Makepeace has just texted me, sort of saying, no, he hasn't. So I've got a text message from someone else. But, unfortunately, no Pitney. So, not unfortunate, but Carlton didn't pick Pitney. They've gone a little bit just with the one ruckman, Sam DeConing, but they'll probably put Lewis Young as a second ruckman. I'm feeling pretty confident about this game, to be honest with you. I think we're a real shot. We certainly have to play more than two and a half quarters, 2 quarters and 20 minutes. But we'll have to. We'll have to hope that we can play at least 3.5 quarters. If we can do that, Carlton's not much of a team. I mean, they played at West. I mean, I know they beat West Coast last week, but West Coast putting one of the worst performances you'll ever see. I think they recorded the least amount of contested possessions in an AFL game. They played, West Coast are playing Harley Reid or halfback flank. Oh, is Troy back? Troy, you there? Can you hear me, Troy? Well, it was good while it lasted, so he's on screen. It does say his recording is of high quality, so I'm not too sure why he can't hear me at the moment. Yeah, he's not on mute or anything like that, so I'm not on mute, am I? So I don't think I am. No, I'm not. So yeah, I'm not too sure why he can't hear me at the moment. I'll just ask one more time. Troy, can you hear me? No, nothing. I can't hear anything there, Troy. So I'm not too sure what the situation is here, but very, very strange what's happened tonight. I don't know if it's an internet issue on my end or if it's on Troy's end. So it does say I'm connected, but yeah, unfortunately, we've lost Troy. So I'm hoping for Harry Sheasel's 50th game that we can get the win this week. I know it's only 50 games, but geez, what an impact that kid has had on this club so far. I wonder how many wins he's got. He's probably only got about 8 or 9 wins over the course of his career. So we'll definitely want to see that win ratio go up. I think, Bailey Scott's only got. He's another player that did come in this week, but he's only got like 13 wins in about 100 odd games. Nick Larkey's pretty much a similar. So we've certainly got to start getting those wins on the board. Now, tomorrow's game is very important, obviously, for the club. Big game, Good Friday game. Troy, can you hear me? No, I'll keep going. Big Friday game, Good Friday games. Yeah, it's a big game for the club. Yeah, we'll have to, make the most of it. We certainly not only put in a competitive performance, but we want to win this game. Troy, I did hear something there. It's a lagging internet connection, so I'm not too sure what the situation is there, but so it is an important game for the club tomorrow. We'll have to, hopefully put in a good performance, but we've got to start getting these wins. And no bigger game than Good Friday, and we'll play them at the perfect time. The Carlton midfield do worry me. They've got the big bodies. Can you hear me, Troy? Oh, no, he's gone. I heard something. I think it was a sigh. I think it was probably had enough by then. So I will message him soon to see what happened. Just to apologise if it is on my end or if it was on his end. But unfortunately, we couldn't get much of Troy Makepeace tonight. I'll probably do a fair bit of editing. I'll probably just won't put too much of this in the show tonight. Look, I'm still confident. I know Carlton, do they have that big body midfielder, Cripps, Georgie Hewitt, a few others as well. So, but I think with Georgia Wardlaw coming back, that'll certainly help. And might even push Parker a little bit more forward. So I'm going to go for a 3-goal win. I'm going to wrap this up pretty soon. I'm going to go for a 3-goal win, and our match winner to be, I'm going to go Paul Curtis. He's due for a big game of 4 or 5 goals. So I'm going to definitely get behind him and put it, hopefully we can, certainly get that, win that, a lot of supporters are crying out for. And we can't put in another uncompetitive performance. The supporters are getting a little bit frustrated now, especially the last couple of weeks with the margins blowing out so big. The club are trying to say the right thing, Clarko and a number of others. So, we'll have to see how we go. Just on the Rural Children's, it's a great cause. I don't know why they haven't been doing this for a long time. It's a bit surprising, to be honest with you, that it took them so many years to do this. And, you're going to raise so much money. I'm sure Troy, if he was here, he'll talk about, seeing his son, who's 21 years old, go through 2 ACLs and how hard that can be for him to be in hospital for, doing surgery for it, and then just the mental side of it. But that's just a small part compared to what some of these parents have to go through with their kids. A lot of these kids, get really bad diagnoses at a very young age, pretty much almost when they're born, and they pretty much have to spend, most of their life in hospital or their early years in hospital. Yeah, it's very tough to see, and be very draining on the parents, and obviously not just the kid who will be going through a lot as well. So, yeah, this is for a great cause. Yeah, make sure you donate tomorrow, and that's the most important thing you can do. Football comes second to even or whatever tomorrow. It definitely is for the kids, and hopefully the club and the clubs can raise a fair bit of money and put a few smiles on a few people's faces. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I've got to do some editing. Sorry about tonight, boys and girls. I am going to send a message to Troy just to, make sure he's not too disappointed. Obviously, a little bit frustrating in that regard. That, we could only get probably 20, 25 minutes happening. Anyways, that's it from me. I'll be back probably on Sunday evening. I've probably only got Sunday evening this week. I'll try and get some of the boys on or someone on to review the game, Good Friday game. Hopefully a win. And that's it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, give a thumbs up. Probably not so much for this one. This one was a bit of a disaster, but for other episodes and so forth that I'll do. That's it from me. Bye for now, and go Roos.